Welcome to Cosplayland. I am Alice and today I am going to show you my favorite shops to buy cosplay resources, materials and anything you may need to make your fantasy dreams come true. I have actually put together a list with all the shops I mentioned in this video and you will be able to download it for free in the link in the description, so don't worry, everything is there. Of course, I can't let you know of all the shops ever and I am sure I am missing a lot. I actually had to just summarize the ones that I do know because otherwise this list would go on forever. I also want to mention that I haven't personally used every single brand in this video. I have seen reviews, I've seen people using them a lot, but it doesn't mean that I know every single one, so I invite you to research each shop so you can actually get an idea if the shop is gonna work for you or not, because some of them may be not shipping to your country or maybe the shipping is too expensive, so feel free to check that out to make sure. And of course, if after watching this video you have any more ideas, please feel free to leave them in the comments so people can just add those shops to their personal lists and we can create a base of knowledge that we can share with other cosplayers. Without much further ado, let's just start with the list. And I should have prepared the laptop, but I didn't, and that beam of sun is still in my face. Less sun, that's better. There's still a cat here. And another one there. First stop is your cosplay shops to buy cosplays, because yes, you can buy a cosplay. It's not necessary for you to make it yourself. And if you're a beginner, perhaps this is the easiest way to get into the hobby and just make it very easily. And I put together a list in no particular order of some of the most popular shops where you can buy a cosplay. Of course, the quality of the cosplay you get is very much going to depend on the cosplay you choose, so be careful and definitely watch those reviews, look for those reviews and see how the cosplay looks in other people before you buy anything, because you would be surprised, sometimes the fit is not as good as you expect. Another problem you may have with these shops is the sizing, so make sure you are choosing a size that corresponds with your measurements, because more often than not, these shops are placed in China or in Asia and the sizing is going to be way smaller than the one you are used to in your normal shop. Spoiler alert, I haven't tried most of these companies just yet because I usually make my own cosplays, so I am giving you this list for reference in case you want to buy anything from them, but I can't really tell you a lot because I haven't personally tested them all. The first shop in my list is called Mig Costumes. They seem to have a reasonable decent quality and they seem to have... Ooh, I like this one. They mostly have costumes from video games, but also some of the recent series from Netflix, and definitely they do have quite a big variety of things going on in here, so it is worth checking them out. Most, if not all, of the shops in this list are based in China, so make sure you're keeping in mind that delivery is gonna take 2 to 3 weeks depending on which part of the globe you are located. Nevertheless, a few of them have warehouses in the USA, so you may be lucky and get something quicker. Next stop is Uwowo or something like that. And basically they also have video game costumes, but they do have more Japanese and their own kind of pretty dresses based on characters. There's a lot of Genshin, but there's also like maids based on video games and on anime, and they have a big variety of things over here. I think perhaps I would say this shop is a little bit more cutesy with more cute dresses for cosplayers that like photo shoots, but again, I haven't personally ordered anything from them. They do seem, however, to have decent prices. Doki Doki is another shop which is pretty known by cosplayers because of the quality of their costumes, or rather the quality of the fabric they choose for their costumes, because they tend to use these like over the top with designs on them fabrics which make the cosplays look a little bit nicer, and I have personally bought a few of their cosplays. They have been hit and miss for me personally, because of the quality that I can't fold, but because of the sizing, because they do seem to run extremely small, and sometimes there are patterning issues in those cosplays that I cannot understand. But nevertheless, I think they are worth it if you are looking for something a little bit of extra special. They also have this system in which they rate how special their costumes have been made, with using these special fabrics or just using some more plain and less expensive fabrics, or maybe with the details being made on fabric as opposed to their SSR and SR ratings, which will give you metal pieces and very over-the-top, very nice accessories. The only fault, apart from the sizing, that I can find to this shop is that they actually take quite a long time to ship, so to make sure you check if your cosplay is ready to ship and how long it's going to take, because they take their time to send cosplays. But other than that, I do like this shop enough. EZ Cosplay is another of those shops that has mostly video games, or rather they promote mostly video games. They will all have anime and games and video games and all kinds, but I'm just like letting you know what you will see the most when you open these shops. And yeah, video games seems to be the thing. They seem to have like more costumey looks than the others, in my opinion, but the good thing is that you can also find shoes, so if you are looking for shoes for your cosplay, perhaps you may be able to find them here. The other shops do have shoes as well, but it will very much depend. So if you're looking for something very specific, you may need to go to each single shop and just compare which one is the one that is in your budget and which one is the one that looks the best to you. It's been 5 minutes and I can't feel my feet. Get in there. There are several other places where you can buy cosplays that I will be mentioning later in the video, and yes, there's also more shops that you can find out there, and of course you have lots of lovely commissioners, cosplayers making cosplays as well. So if you're looking for something unique and made with passion and love, don't be afraid of check around if there is anyone that may be able to do a cosplay for you, because helping a small business is very, very rewarding and they will really be thankful for it. Next stop is my favorite section, because this one is about sewing supplies and sewing patterns in particular. In this section, I'm going to focus on patterns that you can download digitally and are available at any time, because as you may know, you can get patterns on fabric shops as well, but it doesn't guarantee that they are going to have those items available or they are going to have them in stock. You may need to research the interwebs until you find them. So yeah, these shops I'm going to give you are shops which I can assure you they are gonna either have or not have the patterns, so you don't have to go crazy looking for them. Yes. Of course, the first one in the list is me, Alice in Cosplayland, because that's what I do. I make cosplay patterns, so you can just create your own cosplays without having to do all the maths of pattern making. I can't emphasize how many maths there is in pattern making. And it saves you some time. They come with instructions and you get to see all my builds and all my tutorials for free here on YouTube. I personally like anime, but I also have video games and films cosplays, so make sure to check it out if you are interested in making your own cosplays without having to do all the maths to make sure all those patterns fit you. You will still need to test them, of course, but that's gonna happen with any brand. So make sure to check them out because they really help me and just help me just carry on with the channel. But I am not the only cosplay pattern maker, and I am not the kind of person to keep information from you guys, because I started this channel to help you and I actually support fellow cosplayers and fellow pattern makers, and more often than not we complement each other patterns, most of us focusing on one or other fandoms. My shop, for example, has lots of anime patterns, but also some video game patterns, especially the ones from Final Fantasy VII, because if you don't know it, I'm obsessed with Tifa and I really love her and I'm not ashamed of it. Another pattern maker that has been doing patterns for a while is Indigo Patterns, and they basically have lots of Zelda and Fire Emblem. If you are looking anything for games of this type, they have lots of stuff. I have purchased some of them patterns in the past, but I haven't made them yet, so maybe that's something that you will see in the channel in the future. Let me know if you will be interested in me trying patterns from other pattern makers, because I would love it. Another pattern shop you can be into is Short Waist Patterns, and she has made a lot of Baldur's Gate cosplays. If you are looking for some historical looking cosplays based on video games, she's the one. Also, Emily is super sweet, so definitely give it a check. Marita also sells sewing patterns for cosplayers, and again you will find some Zelda patterns here, but also some oldies like the classic Fate Stay Night, and some base patterns as well to help cosplayers that are starting and just want to create their own patterns. She does have patterns for men and women, so it is worth checking it out. Also, Needle Workshop has lots of patterns. In particular, they have a big collection of patterns from Demon Slayer, and you can actually find them on YouTube as well if you want to check their video tutorials. Finally, I will also mention Cut Sew, because this is a company that sells patterns, but they are not digital. They are physical patterns that they send to your house, and they specialize in generic cosplays, not named cosplays as such, but something more like Japanese uniforms or kigurumi or that kind of a style. And keep in mind that finding a cosplay pattern may not be so straightforward due to trademark issues. We can't use certain names for certain patterns. Even if we design them for a character in a specific, we may not be able to just write the name of that character. So yeah, just make sure you check them and just like have fun just looking at all the silly names you get to just name all these patterns. I will also mention that there are companies like Macos or Simplicity that are making patterns for cosplay. However, as I mentioned before, it's gonna be difficult to find these cosplays unless you go to a marketplace to get them, or you are lucky enough that they are in the shop, because some of these times they are a limited time run and they will not be remaking these patterns as often as you would think, so you will have to deal with second-hand sellers or places that may have these items in stock that will have licensed patterns. That doesn't mean they are going to be good or bad patterns, it only means that they are allowed to use the name of whatever the cosplay they are making on those patterns. Sometimes they are not allowed and they still do them, but that is a story for another time. Still in the sewing section, I will just briefly mention a couple of bigger companies that sell fabric. One of them is Joanne, everybody seems to be talking about them. I believe Michaels sells fabric as well. I live in the UK and personally the one I use is Minerva, which seems to be shipping worldwide as well, but I didn't put a lot of cosplay shops related to fabric in here because you'll probably be better checking out the fabric at your local store or just checking the fabric in your own country, because shipping can be very expensive for fabric shops. So I don't want to recommend you a shop over another one, because I know you are gonna get pretty much the same things all over the world, just it's probably going to be cheaper if you just research your own fabric shop, and particularly if you just support your local community, because it's great to be able to just run to the shop whenever you didn't plan in advance and you need to get fabric for your cosplay. Not like it ever happened to me. Ever. Here in the UK, the ones that I go to the most are Abacan and also Crafty, but again, this is my personal experience here in the UK and it's going to be completely different from everybody else, so make sure to just research what's the closest and what's the best deal for you. My next section is about crafting supplies, things like foam and more foam and glue. I use glue as well, but yeah, mostly foam because cosplayers use a lot of foam. And basically you will have different shops and I recommend you to use the shop closest to you because again, foam is big and most of the crafting supplies that you will need are going to be very big and the shipping price can go very high very quickly. So I gave you a few alternatives. It does tell you in my list where they ship from, which may help you decide if that's a good fit for your cosplay or not, because it's always going to be easier to find a shop that sells to Europe or that sells to the UK. If you are in Europe or in the UK, then just choosing a shop that sells foam in America and it's gonna cost you £40 shipping. No. Most of the shops in this list will be selling foam, thermoplastics like Warbler, or glues and paints specific for painting those thermoplastics and foam, but feel free to check each of them in particular because some of them will have a slightly different amount of products on offers, but pretty much they will be selling about the same type of stuff. First one of these shops is called Cosplay Shop. I know, original. And they are based in Belgium, so if you live in Europe, probably you have a chance that this is the shop that will probably deliver quicker. Delivering in the UK, and I believe in Europe as well, we have Polyprops. This is the one that I use for my projects. They have high density foam and they have clay foam and they have all that kind of stuff, thermoplastics as well. Lumin's workshop is based in Australia, and I believe for what I've seen from fellow cosplayers on the internet from Australia, they do have a lot of things and they even have a place over there where you can just go test stuff. I don't know, are you from Australia? Do you know anything about them? Just let me know in the comments. Ticket Supplies is also another exclusive shop from the UK, but they have slightly different items from Polyprops and I've used them quite a lot as well, so I decided to add this to this list, but it may not deliver to every country, so just like so you know it. Coscraft has lots of stuff including cosplay supplies. They are also based in the UK and until recently they shipped to Europe, but with Brexit I don't know anymore, so again, just check them out. Cosplay Supplies is from Canada and I'm pretty sure they will be shipping to the USA as well. So if you are living in that side of the world, that may be the shop for you. And last in my list is Cosplay Craft that delivers from France. Am I missing a lot of big shops? Perhaps, but as I said, this is pretty much about where you live because you're gonna have to find a supplier closer to you in order to get the best deals. However, I will also mention that I believe, and I don't know because again I'm not American, Joann's and Michael's also sells some kind of crafting things as well. So worst case scenario, just go to an art shop near you because most of them will have the bare minimum of just foams and glues of all types, so do not underestimate your local shops. But of course, instead of crafting things out of foam, you may be into 3D printing. So I also made a list of places where you can both get 3D print files and some of them will deliver your 3D printed props directly to you. Number one, from Canada, we have Dangerous Ladies, and not only they offer 3D printing files, they also offer some very cool kits with resin kits in which you already have the prop printed for you and just ready to be painted. For a more open source shop, you can also find Cults 3D that has a lot of sellers that will do their little things and will put them for sale in there. Just a warning, this is not owned by one person, this has many sellers, so you may have to check on the quality of each listing individually because you're gonna find lots and lots and lots of stuff. So you really want to double check here if you get anything here because some things are great, some things are not so great, and you will have a variety of prices from people who are just starting and will sell something for very cheap to people who are experienced 3D makers that will be selling their things a little bit more expensive. So whenever I have to do a new cosplay, the first thing I check is if Nincraft has already got the 3D printing files because I know she is a professional 3D modeler and it shows because her work is simply the best. I have never had any problems with her prints, and I love them so much that I'm just gonna put her there because I really like her. She's very nice as well. Illustrious Models also has lots and lots of files, and I am not going to stop telling you which types of files are on each shop, because basically there's a little bit of everything, mostly Genshin Impact and Zelda and all that kind of video game, more detailed stuff, but again, you're gonna have to check each one for a particular thing. Finally, I am also going to mention Annihilate because she has some really good Genshin Impact cosplays, and she has made her own 3D printing files and made them available in her shop. I must say here, there is plenty of cosplayers both in the crafting and the sewing section, making patterns, making 3D files, and making specific things for cosplays that they make, and I honestly cannot list here the amount of people who are making this available for you. You are gonna have to research it because there's plenty of cosplayers out there making a lot of things to make it easier for you guys to just make your own cosplays. So yeah, just go checking around, and if you can, just support the fellow cosplayers that have made things available for you. You may have your cosplay, but probably you are going to need some accessories to go with it. Some of the cosplay shops I mentioned before, actually I think all of them, will have wigs available for sale as well, but more often than not, even if these wigs are good quality, they will be slightly more pricey than some specialist wig suppliers, so I thought I would also give you a list of wig suppliers. If you are looking for a more natural look, you may want to check Wig is Fashion. They deliver from China. I personally have not tried them because more often than not I don't go for natural and subtle, but I've heard good things about them and I decided to put them in this list. Limel Wig is based in China, but honestly whenever I have ordered anything from them, they have delivered it super quickly and they do have very good quality at a decent price. Limel Wig has lots of base patterns in many different colors, but they will also supply you with character-specific wigs. Epic Cosplay also has lots of wigs in many different colors, but they don't have character-specific wigs. They are more specialized on just styles, but the good thing about them is that you can also get strands and hair pieces individually, so if you're looking into making your own thing, they may be more interesting for you. Other wigs are known for their quality and their volume, and it's probably one of the most known wig suppliers. They are also based in the USA, so if you're over there, you can check them out. However, they are prohibitively expensive here in the UK because shipping costs are often as much or double the price of any of their wigs, which are not cheap to begin with. If you are in the UK, I would also recommend Coscraft because they also have good quality wigs and they will arrive quicker and they will be probably a little bit less expensive than those from Ada. In the section of contact lenses, I could be mentioning all the ones I have ever tried, which are a lot, and I could just send you to all my reviews, which are a lot, but I decided to just reduce the list to the ones that I think are the most trustworthy of the lot that I have tried so far. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the other shops at all. As you know, contact lenses is something that you have to put into your eyes, and I wanna make sure you are safe and you are getting the best contact lenses that I can think of. Number one in my list for contact lenses is Mocha Queen. I've been using them for about 2 or 3 years almost exclusively because I find the lenses very comfortable. They don't have the biggest selection ever, but they will have something for every occasion, and they do seem to be quite good quality and shipped from the USA if you are located over there. Pinky Paradise is based in Malaysia, as most companies for contact lenses are, and I believe lots of cosplayers use them. I personally haven't tried them, but I have heard good reviews from them, so I think they are worth mentioning in this list. Finally, Unixo is also very popular among cosplayers because they have some very unique character-specific contact lenses. I was also partnered with them a long time ago, and I still use the contact lenses when I'm trying to find a particular cosplay look with a particular kind of contact lenses. Their stock is again huge, and you can go from things that are very natural looking to things that are very anime looking, big ones, small ones, everything, you can find it in there. Editing Alice here. I also included coloredcontacts.com to the list because they actually deliver from the UK, and I believe they deliver to Europe as well. And they are the only brand that I know that I can get my lenses in like 2 days here in Europe. So they are good quality as well, and I'm gonna be adding them to the list. The next section is for people who want to learn, and there is plenty of cosplayers out there teaching you their secrets, how to make a particular cosplay, or how to just do this or that other technique. Just because a cosplayer sells you a sewing pattern, it doesn't mean that it comes with instructions. Mine definitely do, and you can see my tutorials on YouTube as well. But there are plenty of other cosplayers which are also selling you tutorials. And if I were to fill this list, I wouldn't have time in the world to just show them all. So I am going to specifically tell you about cosplayers that have a broad range and a big variety of tutorials available for sale, and they've made books about cosplay. If you want to learn about foam smithing, you can check Punish Props because they have a collection called Foam Smith, and you can download them or buy them in their shop. They are going to be telling you all the details from starting with your foam to how to cut it to how to paint it so it looks like real armor. So it's definitely a great start if you are into crafting. What are you doing? You stop now, huh? You were not clawing my dress, were you? Not at all. We can't forget the Queen of Cosplay, which is Kamui Cosplay. They have over a dozen books on how to do props with foam, how to do weathering, how to do lighting. They have everything, and they have a fully complete series. They have everything you can imagine and more, because they also have patterns in particular for foam pieces and hats. My cats are hungry, so I'm gonna have to hurry up. If what you want to do is more related to resin, the one person you have to go is Line Cosplay, because again, they have books on how to cast, how to paint, and how to manipulate resin. They make lots of interesting crafts and lots of interesting things like horns and all kinds, and that is also another place. In Patsu Cosplay we'll have books about wig styling and also about makeup, and they also have tutorials specific for some of their cosplays they've made in the past, including some of them are from League of Legends or Dr. Stone. And wig styling is another thing that you may be interested to learn. And I recommend you my friend Cookie Cos, because she has a series of wig styling books which are super entertaining, they are super good, and you will learn how to make the craziest hairstyles, how to make a giant ponytail, and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, she's really good as well. And finally, I'm just gonna give you a rapid fire of cosplayers that also have tutorials like Anna Elick, Ludus Cosplay, Albert Crunchies, Daisy Renee, Yudai Manda, Pretzel Cosplay, or Down and Creative Studios, just to name a few. There is honestly an infinite list of cosplayers, and I can't tell you how many people out there that I admire are making tutorials so you can make your cosplays easily. There's tons of years of experience from each one of these cosplayers, and I really thank them for all their hard work delivering these tutorials so you can make your cosplays with ease and learn a few techniques in the process. Finally, let me just mention that you can actually also get shop from more global marketplaces, so chances are if you didn't find anything on all the shops I've mentioned so far, you will be able to find them somewhere else, like places like AliExpress, Alibaba, eBay, Etsy, or Amazon. These are marketplaces, which means there are many sellers inside them, and again, there are so many things out there, so it would be an infinite list just to mention some of the shops that I like the most, because more often than not, I simply go to the place and just type whatever I'm looking for and find it. If you are looking for some affordable crafting materials, you will be able to find virtually anything on any of these suppliers. So if you can't find anything, or the cosplays that I told you do not ship to your country, do not forget to check them, because these ship globally, worldwide, and they will be able to just supply you with all your cosplay needs, including cosplays, wigs, and crafting materials. Even fabrics. As I said before, I will leave you a link in the description so you can find my list of cosplay suppliers, and you can even download it and customize it so you can add your own shops to the list. I really hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments what other shops you usually use for your cosplays, and I hope you liked it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye! Kitana, do you want biscuits? Do you want biscuits? Do you want biscuits?